on, everybody? Just wanted to do a Tuesday recap, quick overview of yesterday. I took one trade. I took a short on HLF, and I got 62 cents, and I made 124 bucks, just small share size. So started off the week all right. As far as today goes, I'm down 12 bucks. A little bit of an up and down day. I took a trade on THO, and then I dabbled in HDS twice. I took a loser on THO, one winner on HDS, and then the third and final trade was a loser. So I find that when I trade 2, 3, 4 times, I can be really up and down. So that's just what I've noticed. So I'll make sure to kind of do a little recap of the stuff that I saw and whatnot. And then just for everybody watching, I know there's people talked about like the trade net payout and whatnot. I know the 15th of every month they do a payout. You just have to request the payout on the 10th of that month. I'm going to be requesting a payout, and I'm going to be taking some of the money out. I have 1,567 bucks in profits in the account. I'm going to be taking a good chunk of that out. So what I'll do is I'm going to request it, and then once the wire comes in, I will show proof so everyone can. I know there's been people that have kind of thought about the whole payouts being, people not getting money or whatnot. So I'll just show the proof of that to show that, the money actually does come in when you make money, which is the most important part, right? So just to get that out of the way. And then as far as just going over some of the trades. So THO, my main watch list was CASY, THO, HDS, GIII, and MIK. HDS was the favorite because it was a gap down on not so good news, which I like. So the very first thing, I had a handful open in the morning as far as the charts go. And then the very first trade that I ended up taking was a long on THO, kind of, expecting or anticipating the reversal. I missed the move down. So, what I'm noticing is a lot of these times, even though they gap up, they don't necessarily always gap up and go. And, this thing faded off the open, finally hit a bottom, and I decided to, give this thing a shot long. Kind of right around here, kind of anticipating the break of 105 and potentially maybe testing high day. And that quickly turned around, and my stop was, it was a pretty big stop. I was going to have to risk about $1. The mistake that I made on this is this stock was spready. So I should have stayed away to begin with, because the spread is ultimately what made me lose bigger than, or have to put on more risk than I wanted, just because I think the spread was like probably 20 cents. So, lesson learned, I only took 100 shares on it, and I ended up losing 75 cents on that trade. I went long at 104.95 and then ended up taking it off at 104.20 just because it was not working out. There was no momentum to the upside, so I bailed. And just, something I'm noticing is just levels. Pre-market, this thing pushed up to 106.57. That was the high. Couldn't really break that area. And then what do you know? 1 minute candles. The first push was right up to that 106.57, completely stuffed it, and then this thing just sold off, faded hard down to a quick morning low of 102.87. So there was almost a 4-point move in that morning low. Obviously, this kind of strategy and this kind of, quick moves in the morning is not for everybody. Even at times it can be, you really have to be careful. It's just one of those things where if you can catch it right, the moves happen so quick, and you can really, even on not so big share size, you can really have, decent days. So, but just, once again, this is something I noticed. Pre-market high, couldn't break it, actually, whacked its head right at the high market or a pre-market high level, faded hard. So, that was the first trade that I took, and I ended up taking a loss on that. HDS. The thing that sucked with this is this looked great. I was super excited about trading this thing. The only problem is that this thing just went straight down. So it never really gave a good opportunity to get in. I liked this 37 level, but I didn't just, here's that. The first 1 minute candle is just straight down. I'm not comfortable just shorting straight out of the hole because a lot of times it can squeeze. So I was trying to wait for some sort of spike, even just a little bit, a spike back up to test that 37 to go short, and it never did. So I ended up taking this short kind of on this first flag pattern, which is really low, but I ended up going for it. I took a short at 34.15, and I ended up covering that position at 33.60. So I ended up getting 55 cents on that. So I was up like 35 bucks on the day, recouped all the losses, plus went a little bit green, which is always good as far as, mental goes, right? And then I ended up taking one more trade on this, I believe right in that area right there. So this thing, pushed up, kind of consolidated, and then broke down. And I ended up taking it short at 34.01. And then it was choppy. I ended up taking it short at 34.01. It ended up breaking down, went to a low of 33.65. 35 cents is normally a pretty good move. I think what I did, some of the mistakes I made on this is I got a little greedy, so I tried to hold rather than take those, 35 cents, especially later in the day after this thing has been really, really beat up. Would have been a good move. I didn't. It ended up kind of chopping around. I'm sure it trapped a handful of shorts here because these are, big moves down below the whole number and then immediately reverse above it. So I ended up getting stopped out at 34.24. So kept the loss relatively small. But I went for it. Missing the down move, that sucks, right? But in my kind of thought process, taking that first flag is worth a go. But then after that, one of the main things that I messed up on is kind of not really like looking where this stock came from. I mean, this thing was 40 bucks not too long ago before the market even opened. So it came from call it right around $40 all the way down to 34 in a very short period of time. So, maybe on the first flag pattern, it worked great. But for me to expect that another flag pattern has a chance to work, I feel like that probability is just not as high. I went for it, so it is what it is. But that was a mistake that I made. It was what I should have done is kind of had the two trades and really look for something else that sets up great. Otherwise, walk away because the setup wasn't great. And it ended up putting in a lower high, and I just kind of wanted to give it a shot, and then obviously didn't follow through. But it is what it is. So as far as the day goes, I mean, down 12 bucks. I'm basically flat on the day. It's just trying to go over mentally what I see, what I'm what's going through my head after the trades. This is the stuff that I'm seeing. So first trade on HDS was okay, and then the second one should have realized it came from where it came from. It had already gotten destroyed. So the chance of this thing just continuously falling down, I feel like the probabilities aren't there. So what else? GIII. Here's something else, I noticed, right? Just basic levels. I mean, patterns are great, but I'm finding that, levels really do come into play. And I always kind of knew about levels, or, I would jot them down, but I never really took them as serious as I'm starting to now, because I'm really starting to notice that these levels really do come into play. So, GI gapped up, looks like crap on the daily, right? It's in the, apparel kind of retail space, which has just been getting no love. And this thing, made a push in the morning. This is pre-market data, pushed up into 25.50, couldn't really break through it, and then just bounced its head on it a few times. Then what do you know? The very first candle opened up just a little bit below it and then totally tanked below it and just faded off the open. Once again, I find it harder to play these, but if you if I get in quick enough, the risk can definitely be managed. It's hard. I don't have as I'm not able to pull the trigger on this as easy as others, just being that it's gapped up. So I feel like you can get trapped. But what do you know? Breaks through these levels and fades right off the open. Kind of that, and probably that initial head fake, and then fades hard down a point. So quick moves in the morning, and this just held to the lows. So kind of consolidated below view up, and this thing totally sold off. So typical retail stock, right? Not getting any love and looking like crap at the end of the day. Especially after the morning, the morning sell-off. And then, MIK, noticed some basic pre-market levels. And then with the pre-market data off, it was a little choppy in the morning. I was watching this, and I didn't love kind of how choppy it was, but, ended up having to push selling off, bouncing off, a pre-market level, pushing back through one, and then, selling off through both for a, good reversal play. So there were some opportunities. I noticed that the volume is definitely lower, and it's easy to notice just by watching how these things move. Doesn't mean that there's not opportunities, but as far as for kind of my style, those quick moves, it's just having to be a little bit more picky and really wait for levels to come in play. HDS would have been a fantastic short had that thing spiked in the morning. And right when that thing sold off at the open, I realized that the big opportunity as far as the really big risk reward trade was immediately wiped out. So that's just how it goes. And that is pretty much it for me. Just to quickly go over, P&L down $12 on the day, so pretty much flat. Commissions will be like probably $9, $10. The account's at 1157 or 1567. I will be taking a wire out and then showing everybody my bank account just to show proof of that coming in. I will be getting that probably a couple days after the 15th, so stay tuned for that. As far as me today, I'm done. So hopefully you're having a good week, and I will see you in the next video.